How are we doing, people? Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Football's 12th Man podcast. I have got an unbelievable amount of guests tonight. And do you know what? I think this is going to be a happy podcast, man. I can't lie. There's only going to be a couple of us that are actually not too impressed with this weekend's game. And one of them is D. D, what are you telling me? You good?
Bro, I'm numb, man. I ain't good. I'm numb. I'm still not over that Everton game. I'm numb. But I'll be here, listen to you guys I've been there when we won games and everyone else lost, but now I'm that single. Everyone here should be happy apart from me. So yeah, I'll be the one that's just listen to you guys about all the great things that's happened over this weekend. Let's not talk about Palace.
No, we're going to talk about Palace, man. Trust me. We are definitely going to talk about Palace. You've had to endure all this pain from these guys when it's gone bad for them, man. It's your turn. No Maz tonight, though, D. Are you all right about that? No arguing tonight with Maz.
He must have some long COVID or something like that because he's been out since Graham Potter's been gone. So I don't know where he's been. But when it's me, it's a problem. I've got a headache right now and I'm still here doing the show. But Maz, all of a sudden, he's a busy man. As soon as Potter goes, he's a busy man every Wednesday 9 p.m. Interesting. I don't know, innit? I don't know. That's him.
Man.
They ain't here.
Well, listen. let's not go around introductions for everyone, just for the pure fact that everyone's happy, man. I'm more than happy to see some smiling faces. To be fair, I'm gonna start with none other than the legend that is returning to this channel, Thor. Bro, what the hell happened at the weekend, man?
Yo, listen to me right. To all you Liverpool fans out there, stop whinging. You lost to a bottom team league. All you do is win. Listen to me. You lost the worst team in the Premier League. Get over it. You lost. Give us credit. Simple as that. Like, clock this, clock that. Fans moan, man. That's all they do, but we won. Get over yourself. That's why I thought I'd come on the channel, destroy Liverpool fans. Stop whinging and give us credit because we played fantastic after the form that we've been on. I know, shout out to Dave, he's been on here. It's every time we lose, but we won. This is why I'm back, and this is why I tell these Liverpool fans.
Yes.
Just
probably the only time I've seen it this season.
I've been with that the Brighton fan, so that's all it is, man.
No, you're confusing me. I'm far from a Brighton fan, bro. I don't, yeah.
But yeah, all it is, good result for us and confidence, man. Oh, I'm happy at last. I've been depressed for the last 4 or 5 weeks, so Dave, like I said, Dave took over me. Took over for the last 5 shows. So, whew, I'm happy.
Big up Dave, man. Big up Dave. Dave's a legend.
Shout out to Dave, man. Massive friend.
Absolutely hilarious. And he was texting me like, "Oh, now we beat Liverpool. We're coming for you, Dan. We got you next." And I'm like, "Hang on, whoa."
No. Listen, Dan. I'm trying to leave him like this. I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, but listen, last time, 2 times I've seen you play us, you bloody beat us, bro. So I ain't getting too confident.
Bro, this is different, man. This is Premier League. You're top, we're bottom. I'm not saying nothing. Till Sunday. So I'm keeping my mouth shut. Yeah.
Yeah, man, let's just see. Listen, all I'll say, Dora, right, before I come to the others, all I'll say is, right, I was really happy for Steve Cooper more than anyone because I really like him. I think he's a wicked manager. I think he deserves a little bit of positivity. I know that he's been backed and thrown loads of money, players, blah, blah, blah. But actually, when you look at somebody to come out and say, this is what I need right now, I think he deserves it because the fans love him. All of the players clearly buy into him. And that is the sort of win you need when you're down in the dumps, mate. Going and beating a team, let's face it, have just beaten one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league so far this season, that come out for this bounce. And on Liverpool back, they beat Man City. Rah. You hear all Liverpool fans getting cocky. I see Grizz, my good friend Grizz Khan, getting humbled the other night on Big Six because he was coming out talking about how exceptional Liverpool are now. All of a sudden.
Dan, don't get me started with these Liverpool content creators, man, because you're sour. Give us credit. We beat you, simple as that. Then I'm hearing, I think it's Grizz, other content creators saying, "Oh, this and that." I'm like, give credit to Forest. We beat you. I think we played fantastic. Like the form we've been on, and I mentioned the game against Leicester when we got battered 4-1. Actually, I'm not going to talk about it that much, but like we lost 4-0 and we was down the dumps, and Steve Cooper got signed the contracts. And since then, besides the Wolves game, like we lost 1-0, we should have drawn. We should have drawn that game. To be fair, we've been great. We're still the worst team in the Premier League to bottom, and it's there to prove it. But that Liverpool game just said it all, because everyone says, "Oh, we're gonna get." Even me, myself, said we're gonna get smashed against Liverpool. But to beat them, the best team in the world, against playing against teams like Salah, one of the best strikers, and after seeing that performance, for me, he's not the best. It was just a fantastic. Just to, like I said, the goalkeeper Alisson, he makes some great saves. But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about Liverpool. Let's talk about Liverpool this, Liverpool that. Listen, we beat you. Get over yourself. Stop crying, saying this. That Forest fans did this. Shut up. We won. Simple as that, man. I'm sick of it.
Facts,
sick of
man.
it.
Do you know what,
Sick of
right?
it.
The reason I'm with
Sick
you,
of
right?
it.
The reason I hear that is because I get this every year. I hate this fan base, man. Their fan base are a disgrace at times. I can't stand Liverpool fans. They come out with all this. Listen, I'm a massive fan of Grizz. I love Errol that come on this show, right? So big up to them. But their fan base on Twitter, they're absolutely disgraceful, man.
Sorry, I'm not trying to cuss the categories out. He was so disrespectful to Forrest on this other show, right? And saying, "Oh, no, I agreed on some certain part. Like I said, we're the worst team in the Premier League, and that's a fact. But to say that they should have battered us 5-1, blah blah blah. Did you not watch the match? You keeper made 3 or 4 good saves against from Ryan Yates and Tyler against just Lingard. But then coming up nonsense saying blah blah. I'm like, this guy's. Oh, I'm sorry, but these Liverpool fans are deluded, man. Like, watch the game. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you
sick
were.
of it. This is why. Come on, because these Liverpool fans are deluded, man. We won. Simple as that.
Nah, Doy, you're talking facts, man. I thought Yates was outstanding, by the way. Absolutely unreal. Like, so good. So good. Scary. Absolutely scary.
Go. Yates, Canute, Rumi Sevilla. Our midfield was class. I know Liverpool had Curtis Jones, Fabinho, Elliott in the midfield, but Ryan Yates, yes, he's not as a world-class person that people can talk about. But so far, I know we're bottom of the league. He's been fantastic for us. And to bully Fabinho, I know he's not been playing great. Ryan Yates doesn't get no credit at all. And Liverpool fans disrespecting him, saying, "Oh, he's a League 2 player, League 1." Listen, a League 1, League 2 player had your midfield in the back pocket. So, listen, giving credit when it's due. So, it just winds me up. These Liverpool fans get my nerves. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
Nah, it's calm, man. Listen, I'm the same. When they talk a lot, man. They talk a lot. Liverpool fans, it does my head in. But I respect the ones I know.
But
you're right though. No. Do you know what? You're actually right, D. You are actually right, man. Our fan base are deluded, but I'll call out other fan bases when they are as well, man. Trust me. Our fan base, some of them are the worst. We got this worst section of fans, some of us. But Liverpool, they take the biscuit, man. They take the biscuit. But listen, let's come to Billy and Liam, man, because they're been fighting. I say they fighting, been fighting. We'll talk about Forest, Billy, because big result. Do you reckon this will be the start of them creeping back up, or is this going to be tough for them still, mate?
I think it'd be wrong to say that it's not going to be tough for them. Of course, it's going to be tough for them, but they do deserve a lot of credit for getting that result against Liverpool. But you know what, Dor? Let these Liverpool fans talk. You just keep on going about your business. Fly under the radar. Just let them talk. Let them discredit you. Let them talk what they want to say. You guys just keep on doing what you're doing. Just keep on playing like that, and you will get results. Just fly under the radar. That's what I'd say.
It's not that, because, like I said, it was a fantastic win against them, but basically they're trying to deflect the win from us. Like I said, we did this, we did that. Talk about the game on the pitch. Forget what happened on the. If we said this, we said that, we won the game.
Yeah, I get that completely. I really do, and I completely sympathise with you. But let them talk, man. Let them talk.
I think what it is.
I can understand. I can understand it. I can understand the frustration in that. But you know what? Just let them talk. Just fly under the radar. Just prove them wrong when you get to the end of the season and you stay up.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing.
It's not just Liverpool fans as well, though. I think the mainstream media, what they've talked about mainly is, from what I've heard anyways, is why were Liverpool bad? Why did they lose? Rather than why Forest? What happened with Forest? When I was watching that game, and I think everyone who watched that game knew that Forest. All right, cool. Let's be honest. Liverpool did have moments. If Van Dijk maybe was on his game, they could have scored a few goals there. But then again, Forest had chances, and Alisson saved Liverpool a few times as well. So it goes both ways. But then they of course talk about Van Dijk's misses more than Forest misses because that fits their agenda. But
exactly.
I feel like Forest, from what I saw on that weekend at Kyoto, he was at Palace as well. You just went back to the basics. Like you were solid defensively, and then hit them on the counter attack. And you got this result without even. You can make the argument: did Lingard play that good? Or Morgan Gibbs-White? I don't think they did in this game. I feel like they could have offered a bit more. So the fact that you got this result against Liverpool, despite your most creative players not being able to perform like that, that's a massive, massive statement. But from now onwards, you need to kick on. You need to kick on because this Liverpool results means absolutely nothing if you go and lose your next 5 games. I don't think you will do, but I feel like Steve Cooper, after signing like 20 players, he now knows maybe how you should play and what players should play where, the type of football. And I feel like he needs to make a sacrifice in terms of how he wants to manage games as well. And I feel like he will do that. I don't think he wants to play like this. I don't think so.
No.
You have to play like this to get the points. And maybe this is the start for you guys. I think it would be the start. Even if you lose your next game, I feel like from here onwards, you would get more results because it seemed like you found the key to get more points in the Premier League.
Before I said 100%, like Kunte, fantastic game against Liverpool. Like I said, you mentioned it, bang on about it, like Lingard and Gibbs-White. They didn't do much. The midfield did more work than them because we had to battle the midfield because, I said, no disrespect to Liverpool midfield, Curtis Jones, Fabinho, whatever. We battled them. Tony Awani, he's been under pressure with the price tag that's come to Nottingham Forest, 18 million. But it was just a tough game. Like I said, Ryan Yates, like he's under the radar of everything, and he's been fantastic for us since we got to the Premier League. And just to win the game on the way we played against Liverpool, it'd be nice to get credit from the mainstream media because everyone's talking about Liverpool. Yes, Forest are not, that doesn't fit their agenda, but we played fantastic, and that win it's a massive thing for us because it's all right saying yes we beat Liverpool, but now we've got to beat Arsenal. Tough game next day but it's a step from the maybe it's still going to be tough whatever happens, but it's just a win, clean sheet, and we move on from it.
Yeah, man. Listen, I think. Do you remember at the start, predictions-wise, I said Forest will be the surprise package. Cooper, I love. I think they've got never say die attitude, and I was like, oh no, why did I say that? They can't win a game for Toffee, and now I'm hoping they can turn it, man, because I want Forest in this Premier League. I think after 23 years, it'll be such a shame to see them go straight back down. So massive club, great fan
I'm
base.
going to put you on the spot. Wait, you said you want Forest in the Premier League. Who don't you want in the Premier League then?
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
No, none of the teams on this panel. None of the teams on this panel. There you go. I'll say Brighton because Maz didn't turn up tonight. I don't want to see Leeds because Joe couldn't make it. I don't want to see Everton because they couldn't make it tonight. There you go. That's free.
Side. I actually want to know who you want in the Premier League because I know you got panel from every other club, but you want in the Premier League. I won't feel some type of way, even if it's
Tottenham is one. Tottenham, Man United, and Chelsea. There you go. Free to go down.
Fair enough.
Listen, man, I don't hate on any teams, and one team that I always get told I'm undercover supporter for is the next club I'm going to talk about, Newcastle, man. Listen, I don't care what people say. I like Newcastle, yeah, and the reason I like them is because I'm a big fan of the fact that their fan base have sat through 15 years of shite under someone who didn't give a damn in terms of an owner, and now they're getting treated the way they should. Their fan base is wicked, by the way, yeah. I think the passion they show and the place that you go to all the time, they're absolutely horrendous place to go to in terms of a fortress, St. James's Park. I think as well, when you look at what they've done, just going to Newcastle is nice. I mean, it's a great place to go to. I've always looked at them to do well. They've never really been a team that have caused us many huge problems in terms of one-off games. I can think of maybe 2 or 3 that I can think of that you think, oh, I don't want to remember that again. Other than that, they ain't been huge rivals to Arsenal, so I ain't got that hatred for them. But I'm liking what Eddie Howe's doing, man. I think people laughed at him like, oh, he's just a Bournemouth guy that couldn't do anything with him in the end. Man, they're not laughing now. This guy's done great with Newcastle, I think, and he's getting backed. They've got a spine. Man, it's looking good at the moment, Pete. I can't lie, bro. What's your thoughts?
Just loving life at the moment. I've got to be honest. Loving life.
We're gonna
Look,
lose you soon.
huh?
We're gonna lose you from here soon. We might as well get the most out of you.
You know what?
You're gonna get promoted.
It's the main man's. It's the main man's decision if he wants to put me up there. But you know what? If I'm there, I want down there because I'm going to come for him because I watched that show from earlier on tonight.
Well, me?
No, Lawless, Dan Lawless.
Oh, Lawless. Sorry, yeah.
Lawless. I'm coming for him. I want him on that next show because the guy's chatting. He's chatting.
Yeah. He's disrespecting you lot, man.
You know what?
Can't have that.
Right at the beginning of that show, you're bigging up Newcastle, and I appreciate that. And then he goes, "Oh, what? And they earned their way, or they bought their way." Hold on a second. We spent like just over 100 million. They spent 175 million this summer. And where has that got them? It's got them nowhere. And then, like, you know what I mean? He just can't hold his hands up and say, you know what? Fair play. Just a little bit like the Liverpool fans. They can't just hold their hands up and say, you know what? Fair play. Forest were amazing. I've got to say this. Forest were amazing on Saturday. Fully deserved the win. Liverpool fans are never going to give you credit, Bill. They're never ever going to give you credit. They won't give any team credit because that's just what they're like, unfortunately. Yeah. Like they want all the praise when it's going their way, but they won't give any of it out when it's not going
Absolute
their way.
fact.
That's the problem with fans. They've always been like that. They've been like that ever since I've been following football, and it's not going to change, unfortunately. But going back to Newcastle, look, you talked about Eddie Howe. I wanted Eddie Howe in a year before he was even signed as Newcastle United manager. I've said it on this channel before because I saw the qualities that he had. Forget the Bournemouth relegated business. That team was, like many teams, had outrun its cycle. It had done. And he was very, very unlucky to get relegated. To be fair, if it wasn't for that magical goal, no goal, whatever it was at Bramwell Lane. And look, Billy, I know you're smiling at that one. It would have been Villa going down that season.
All I'm saying is a football match doesn't end after 42 minutes. And the season doesn't end with 10 games still to play.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. But look, regardless of that, Eddie Howe is an outstanding manager, and he's proving that. You know, he's not one of those elite managers because he's not played Champions League football. He's not managed a team at that level. He's not won a trophy yet, but he is showing a lot of managers up in the Premier League that have got a hell of a lot of experience in that level. And what I loved about our performance and our performances this season is that performance on Sunday against Tottenham was not a sit back, defend deep, hit them on the break. We went for them from minute one. We went for them. And yeah, the first 5 minutes, they hit us back on the counter-attack and they caused us a few minor problems. But when we settled in the game, we continued to go for them. And they ran out of ideas. They had no idea. At one point, we were sitting on 72% possession in that game. I think it finished on slightly more to Tottenham because they were chasing the game later on. We went for those guys, and even in the second half, we should have had a penalty. Joe Linton should have had a penalty early on in the second half before Kane scored. So it should have been 3-0 at that point. We continued to create chances, and they just did not look like getting a sniff on anything. They had the one that they love and call the Messiah, Harry Kane, pocketed by Botman. Son, barely in the game apart from the first few minutes. You know, even their midfield, Bentancur, who's like a top quality player, was absolutely pocketed by Bruno Guimaraes, and Joe Linton absolutely just destroyed that midfield. And the workman-like play of Wilson up front, great finish, unbelievable finish. Miguel Almiron, one of the most informed players in the Premier League. You
know what, Pete? They're saying, Mr. Pads just brought this up. Dan, can you ask Pete and the lads if Almiron is the most improved player this season? He's up there with Xhaka for me as being like, where's this guy come from? The form is mad.
Look, honestly, if you asked a lot of Newcastle fans at the back end of last season, we expected him to leave the club. We thought he was gone. We genuinely thought he was gone. But he started to improve at the back end of last season. This is not just this season. Back end of last season, he started proving his worth. Pre-season, he was fantastic, bagging goals. I think he was a top scorer in pre-season. And then what he's done is took it into this season. And that consistency that we've asked him of, because he runs all day for you, covers every blade of grass, works his socks off. But the productivity now is what we're seeing, and he's showing with confidence that he can play at the highest level. And we're just here to see it. We're just absolutely buzzing at it. And Richie, who's part of the loaded team, Lisa, who's one of our supporters in the chat as well, they'll know. We're just loving life at the moment. And like you said, I'll finish on this. Like you said, we had 15 years of absolute rubbish under Mike Ashley. And for anyone in the media and anyone that talk crap about Newcastle saying, Steve Bruce is doing a good job, Mike Ashley is a good owner, just look what this ownership and Eddie Howe have done in just over a year at Newcastle United. Took us from relegation fodder, because we were down and out, to now, not saying we're going to finish in the top 4 or top 6 or whatever, but we're certainly in the conversation. And we would have never, ever thought that just over a year ago.
I love that, man. No, I love it. And you know why I loved it even more was because you beat them absolute horrible team. I can't stand them lot, man. They're giving it so big time this season. Oh, they were dreadful.
They're a boring side.
I mean, are they still?
Pete, I have to make an admission. I have to say one thing. Like, of course, I'm not that old. You're older than me, and Dan as well. So that's the only thing I have to say.
That's a good thing to bring in.
Exactly.
That's the only point he wanted to make. Nothing about Newcastle, just that point.
You beat Tottenham, but age is still old. It doesn't change that. But look, with Newcastle, bro, I have to admit, I never understood the hype. Okay, cool. I understand the history. Well, I didn't really understand it because I didn't grow up in that era. I didn't grow up in Newcastle being that big side. So when people were always talking about Newcastle's this big side and all of this and that, I never understood it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I 100% I thought that Newcastle was a big side. But what I've seen so far on this new ownership, of course, new ownership is going to bring new fans, but I don't think it's that. I've seen the real Newcastle. I've seen the home fans that's there every game. I've seen the atmosphere with the group of the players as well. And since the new ownership has come in, for people like me, maybe I'm the youngest here. I'm not too sure about everyone's ages. But for people like me, we're realizing what it means for Newcastle to be this big side. Because, bro, I for all these years, I was saying, why are Newcastle fans keep saying they're big? They're not big. Like, what have you done? What have you done? You haven't done anything in this era. But now I'm understanding it a bit more. Like, you're selling out stadiums and you still got demand for more tickets. You're like, I understand it now. I understand it. I just had to say it because
honestly, you're absolutely right. And for a lot of people, Newcastle United have skipped a couple of generations, more than a couple. Because the one thing I'll always say is before Mike Ashley came and took over the club, we were, and it sounds weird me saying this, we were the top 5, the top 6, because we were always challenging. Sir Bobby Robson brought us back from the dead and got us into Champions League football. We were playing Champions League, Europa League or UEFA Cup where it was. We were getting to the semi-finals. I was there when Drogba tore us apart just before he signed for Chelsea in the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup. We were there. We were doing that. We were the top 5. If you had a conversation of who would challenge for the title from 2000 to 2005, Newcastle United with that conversation. 2006, 2007, still playing European football. Mike Ashley takes over and we become nothing. So I completely understand where you're coming from, where there's a generation or two that actually see Newcastle like, what? You got relegated twice. You're always at the bottom half of the table. You're nothing. But actually, we always knew as a football club that all we needed was an owner with ambition. We're lucky enough to have owners with very, very deep pockets, but all we needed was an owner with ambition that wanted to take us the right way, because we've got the fan base already. One that Chelsea had to build, Man City didn't have, and still don't to a certain extent, have the fan base. We already had it. We've got the stadium. We don't need to buy a new stadium. We may need to expand on it because of the demand for tickets, but we've had a lot already there. All we needed is that ambition to buy players. We've attracted players over the years. Patrick Kluivert, for one, came from Barcelona over to us. We've attracted top-level players to come and play for Newcastle over the years. Even when we had Mike Ashley as owner, it wasn't going to take a lot to get us to get back to where we needed to be, which is first off in the top half of the table, which I believe we will get. And then secondly, Europe's the next step. And if we're lucky, and it looks like it's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, it could be this season.
I don't think it's luck. I think it's talent, bro. I think you're being too nice. I don't think if you're lucky. I think you guys right now, the way you're playing, I think if you're talking about luck, Tottenham are lucky right now to be in around because they play some dreadful football. I think if you're talking about Newcastle, you guys, you deserve it, bro. I don't think it's anything to do with luck. I feel like you would wholeheartedly, if you play like this anyways till the end of the season, you deserve it, man. You 100% deserve it.
I've got a question for you, Pete. Do you think the World Cup is coming at the worst possible time for Newcastle? Do you think that it will halt the momentum that you've built over this past year or so?
Great question. And there's two sides to this. Yes, it could halt it. It could put a stop to it. And we could come back and it might be a little bit of a slow start to build back. I think our first Premier League game's Boxing Day against Leicester. So I'll be there, Ash. And it could well be that it halts us. We don't have a lot of players going to the World Cup or not looking like they're going to the World Cup. I know Sven Botman's just been in the provisional Dutch squad. So that might help us because it keeps the team together. On the flip side to that, you guys have seen it. We press high. We work hard. We run ourselves into the ground, game in, game out. These boys will probably need a rest by then. So it might work the other way in terms of the boys have had a rest. We pretty much have a pre-season all over again because we're going to Saudi Arabia for a training camp. We've got a few friendlies lined up. We come back and we feel refreshed. We're going to have Isak back after that. We're going to have Alan Saint-Maximin back after that. That's the thing that we forget. In that form that we've had, Isak's played 3 games for us. We paid 60 million for him. Alan Saint-Maximin, I think, has played, 4 games this season? They're two of our, probably 1 or 2 of our best players. So we'll have them back. So there's an argument that with a pre-season again, we come back even stronger. And we will, and Dan, you talked about this, we will strengthen in January. There's no doubt about it. 100. We want, and look, Ash, you're not going to like this, but we want James Maddison. We want him. Okay. We talked about, and to be fair, we joked about Zaha. I don't think we'll get Zaha. I actually think he'll go to Arsenal. I think he'll see out his contract and go to Arsenal. However, a player that tore it up last night that we're really interested in is that player for Shakhtar, Mudryk.
He is a baller. He is a baller, bruv.
He is a player that we have scouted for a long time, and there was tentative interest in summer. It would not surprise me if we go back in January. Moussa Diaby, someone just put in the chat. These are players that we're looking at. That's the pool of players that we're looking at in January, and we will strengthen again. I'm not saying we're going to spend hundreds of millions. We haven't even touched the loan market yet. Some of those bigger clubs have got players that are just sitting on the sidelines. We can pluck 1 or 2 of them and guarantee them football. So we will go again. And if we're in top 4 or around that, I think we may get 2 big signings. I think the ownership will go, you know what? Let's go for it now. Let's save ourselves 2 years of the project and let's get it now if we're in the position to do so.
Do you know what, Pete, right? What's mad is that you're basically in a position where Arsenal are in terms of you didn't really expect to be in a European conversation this season, but you are. Arsenal didn't expect to be in a title challenging situation, but we find ourselves in it. If we're still there by the time the World Cup gets there and Arsenal and Newcastle don't go big in January, they're fools. Absolute fools for me. Because for me, if Kroenke doesn't go, do you know what? Wow, nobody expected this. There you go. Go spend 200 million or 150 million that we know he's got. Newcastle have got 4 times that if they want it. If you don't go and do that, I think you're foolish because what we're seeing at the moment is teams dropping off. Chelsea don't look right. Tottenham are losing. There's about 10, 15 minutes to go. I believe they're losing again tonight, Tottenham. Liverpool can't win for Toffee, right? So I'm looking at it thinking, wow, all these teams dropping off. Man City is still going to win the league. I think everybody in this panel will agree with that. But when you look at it, if Arsenal don't strengthen it, just go, do you know what? We might get 3rd or 4th, but I'll do. I'll be really disappointed because it's an opportunity for us to go grab it. Same with Newcastle. If you just go, do you know what? 7th will do us because we get European Conference League. We weren't expecting it. Go for 4th, man. It's there.
You know what? You're absolutely right for both clubs. And you know why? it's because we're at the height of our selling point in January. If you're still fighting for the title, which I believe you will be, and we're up in the top 7, which I believe we will be, fighting in those positions somewhere around that, we're in a massive selling point. We're both having great seasons. Media are talking about us. Everyone's bigging us up. We've got top players playing there, the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Isaac, and Seth Maxey, Botman. And you're going to someone like Maddison, or you're going to Mudryk. Come and play for us. We're going one way. We're going up. We're going for it. That's your selling point. For me, Maddison's now or never. I don't think he comes to us in the summer, because I think Arsenal, Tottenham's, all these teams that probably got more resources in the summer, maybe not January, will probably start looking at him. So there's players like that. Tillemans is another one. There's a market for them in January that if you go in and get those players now, you can get them. But in the summer, you're going to have a whole pool of teams after them. It's the same for Arsenal. So why not maximize it now when you've got your opportunity?
100%, man. And listen, Nottingham Forest, they need another 20 players, I'm sure. I mean, Christ, January opens the door, do you know what I mean? There's another 20 to get in there.
Yeah, I'm hearing that we've got another 100 million to spend. So listen to
Wow.
That's another 30 players.
Listen, just don't wind up Marinakis, because if you wind up Marinakis, you'll just go to your club, buy someone, and that's it. So yeah, so leave Marinakis alone.
Newcastle.
He can have Coutinho if he wants.
That's Newcastle, man. That's Newcastle. But I think, Pete, like with you lot, just quickly, I'm not too sure if you would rush a process, because look, let's be honest, no one expected top 4 this season. Maybe, I don't know, Newcastle fans maybe expected top 7, but I don't think the ownership would rush to bring in players in this window. I think they'll go with the same approach that you had in the summer. If there's the right opportunity for the right price, you'll go and get it. If not, you go again next summer. Like, you've got a process going on. So I don't quite agree with Newcastle having to spend all out. I don't think you will, despite doing well.
You know what? I was like you, D. I was the same. I thought, you know what? We're not going to go and spend 60 million on a striker. We've just bought Botman. We've got Pope, Target, and then we went and brought Isaac just like that. Like, we just went and bought him like that. And I was the same as you. But honestly, I forget sometimes that our owners, right, they're some of the wealthiest people in the world, and they only want the best. They want to win. They want to win everything. They're looking at Qatar, and they're looking at PSG and what they're doing, and they're saying, you know what, we want to get there. They want to do it sensibly, but if they have an opportunity, and this is what we're talking about, if we're in the conversation, like genuinely in the conversation come January about pushing on, really kicking forward, I think they will. And it won't be the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. We're not going to look at that player.
To be fair,
there was
Ronaldo's like a Fredo for you, Gula. It's like 50p, like Ronaldo. Oh, let's go and spend 100 million on Mbappe. You could do that if you want.
It's not even that. It's not. I had a conversation with one of the Newcastle journalists on Monday, and he's talked about Newcastle. And the one thing they said is that Newcastle as a club have got a no dickhead policy. They don't want clowns at the club. And that's what the journalists refer to as a no dickhead policy. They want the players with the right attitude. Cristiano Ronaldo, I love him. He's one of my idols. I've loved watching his career, but he has not covered himself in glory in the last year in how he's behaved. I don't want a player like that at the club, because we've got players. You saw the scenes at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Everyone together, hugging, supporting, cheering the fans for travelling. That's what we want. We want that togetherness. Forest had that when they had that win. Fantastic win at the weekend. Everyone together, jumping, celebrating. Like, everyone, they had that togetherness. Like, that's what you want. You want that. You don't want to pluck individual players that could split the camp. So we're looking at younger players. Eddie Howe wants younger players to make stars. We're not going to go and buy the direct star that's already there. So when the media come out and say all these high-profile players that we're going to sign, it's rubbish. We're going to sign those young players that we can make stars. We've done that with Bruno Guimaraes in just under a year. We've made him a star. Okay, we will continue to do that with other players.
Yeah, man. Listen, just lastly on this one, I really do believe like Eddie Howe deserves a hell of a lot of credit. And I said it at the start of the show for a reason, because I believe it's been buy who you want. I get that. Everyone says, oh, they bought the league, they bought players, they bought that. You'll get all that now, Pete, like Man City and Chelsea did. But you know what? He's improved Joe Linton. No one stuck him in midfield apart from Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
He's done unbelievable things with Miguel. What do you call him? Miggy.
Almiron. Yeah, Miggy.
Almiron. Miggy. You've done unbelievable things with him. Dan Burn, like, let's be honest, Dan Burn was an all right centre half at Brighton, but you didn't look at him and go, wow. At Newcastle, he's doing bits, right? Then you've got
who would have signed Dan Burn? Who would have signed Dan Burn last January for 13 million? Nobody, no other team in the Premier League, even the ones at the bottom of us. He was there. He was there. That's why.
Exactly, yeah.
Nobody would have signed him, and we've made him. And for me, I've put him as a wild card for England because I think he's been one of the best English performing centre backs, along with your centre back D at Palace, who I like a lot. I think they've been top performing centre backs, but I think he's worthy of a place. I think he's a great centre back. I think he's played really, really well. But Gareth Southgate won't sign players on form. The one you haven't mentioned, Fabian Schär, £3 million.
Trust me, I wasn't done, man. I had 2 or 3
in our team. Remember, what was we doing again?
Yeah. We did on form.
I had him and Mark Gay together.
Yeah,
I had him and Mark Gay together in that one. Yeah,
£3 million. We signed him from Deportivo. They've just got relegated, and he's come in. Bruce refused to play him. He was on the bench, didn't kick a ball all the first part of the season until Eddie Howe come in. Now you look at the stats; it's one of the best performing centre backs in the league, all round. He can do everything.
I always I've rated him. I really rate the lad next to him, man. This Botman guy looks wicked. Like, he looks ridiculously good, man. Like, what a centre half he is. Like, this spine that Eddie Howe's put together, man. And big up Callum Wilson, because if he stayed fit, he'd get so much more respect. He's such a good player, man. Such a good player, but he's just made of glass. It's a shame as far as England are concerned, as well as Newcastle. But I think he deserves a lot of credit, Eddie Howe. Bruno Guimaraes is just unreal, man. Like, without being too disrespectful, Pete, because I've bigged you up. He is way too good for Newcastle, man. Like, I'm not being horrible. Like, he is unreal. Like, he is so good.
Honestly, we like when we're on our shows, like, we're literally pinching ourselves. Like, when we see him play, we're like, how the hell is he playing for Newcastle, and why the hell did he sign for us when we're 19th?
It's exciting, bro. It's exciting. It really is exciting for you boys, man. And I'd be excited if I was you. And I said, hello, Newcastle, when all this happened. Oh, it will take them 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I've heard. No, it won't. We're already seeing it, man. Trust me. You'll be in good places in the coming years, man. So, an announcement before we move on. Peter Davey, you are invited to the Race for Europe show, my friend. It is there for you. The invitation is there. If you accept it, that's your decision, my friend. But Lawless is waiting. You're waiting for Lawless.
Oh, no,
in that case, it's on.
Lawless is waiting. I can't dump Lawless out, so I'm gonna have to put you with him, right? Until next season, when they come 8th or 9th or God knows where they come, right? So you are welcome to join us on there, my guy. If it gets to the stage where timing's a problem, obviously you're welcome on here anytime, but you are welcome. Race for Europe show, my guy. All right, there we go. First promotion of the season done already. 11 games in. Well done, Pete. Big up Pete and big up Newcastle, man. Right, next I want to come to Liam because there's a couple of things in the chat. I'm going to move this on really quick, right? But Travarelli, big up Travarelli. He says, Liam, my guy, I got a serious question. Did you pay that ref off? Honestly. Now, we're hearing this a lot, right? We're hearing this a lot, Liam, right? Before we come into it, I want to make it clear. My first thing I did was blame Arsenal players for missing their chances, right? Because that's what it was. The reason we drew the game is because we flopped our chances. We fluffed the lines, couldn't finish our dinner, you name it, right? But that ref was shambolic, man. Absolutely shambolic. Right, you grappled with us, you beat us up, you bullied us. That's what you have to do with an Arsenal team that wants to play football. Respect to Southampton. But that guy is the most deluded referee I've honestly seen in my life, man. But big up yourself, big up Southampton. And lastly, Liam, this, my friend, is why Ralph Hasenhüttl will not get sacked at Southampton. Because he keeps getting results like this just when you're down and out, my friend. So what did you make of it, bro?
Yeah, obviously, first point, the ref was absolutely diabolical. I can't even say he wasn't, because he was terrible. I honestly don't know how we got away with it. The Jesus penalty, I just sat down. I was like, VAR penalty. It's obvious. It's an obvious penalty. I don't care if he's hardly touching one of those. Terrible. But then I don't feel bad, because how many times have we seen in the Premier League the top 6 biased every week with bloody decisions? So finally it's gone our way. So I'll take it. I think we deserved the point in the end. Either way, like you said, you didn't take your chances. Ref had a crap game, but then you can't always blame the ref when you should have finished the game off at half time. So it's like, obviously, ref was crap, but I feel like we definitely deserved the point, and I'm very happy with the result. But obviously, if it's the other way around with the ref doing it to us, then obviously I'd have a different point of view. But obviously, do understand where Arsenal come from. But then, if you don't finish your dinner, you don't talk about how bad the ref was at the end of the game. So
100%. 100%. That's exactly what I said. If you go 3-0 up, 2-0 up even, no one's talking. Well, we're talking about the ref, but it's not being blamed as the reason as to why we drew the game. Because let's be honest, he was a shambles, but we've seen referees have poor games and teams still win the games. So for me, yep, you're absolutely right. I'm going to big up Southampton a bit here though, Liam, right? The reason I'm going to do it is because I really fancied us. You know, you come on the show, you come on with me and Lee Judges on his channel as well, and you said, we're screwed. Like, we've got no Maitland-Niles, we've got no right back, we've got injuries galore, we've got the youngest side, we're not playing well, we can't score, we can see goals, and I'm thinking, this is sounding good. This is all right. Like, Martinelli should have a great time here. Now, I don't know who your number 4 is, I cannot say his name, but how he stayed on the pitch, I don't know. Headbutting people, elbowing people. What was his name? Lianco. Who is that dude, man? He is like
Honestly,
wrestler or what?
He is the biggest shithouse you'll ever see. This guy, he isn't, honestly, I love him. I absolutely love his passion. We don't have enough players like him in our team, let alone like the Premier League. He isn't the best quality, but I tell you what, he gives absolutely everything. He plays for the show, he plays for the fans. I absolutely love it. Like, honestly, I could not believe he said on the pitch afterwards. I thought it was just a little scruffle, and I was like, ref gave me a car, yeah, just get on with it. And I saw after the game where he just like choked him and headbutted him, and think, how the hell have we got away with that? This is like first Premier League game, and you've got like given man the match by all the fans just for being a shithouse, let alone like how crap he was. You get what I mean? But you need players like that in your team, though, just to be like get all the other players going. Because I feel like we don't have that sort of leader on the pitch. Like with Prowsey, obviously he's our captain, but I don't see him as a proper leader. You don't look at him and think he's a player who's like going to get us all up for the game and stuff like that compared to other clubs. But you need a player like that, even though they're not great quality. They just give it everything, and you can't fault him. I absolutely love him, but like, you know what I mean? Well, I thought we were absolutely screwed before the game. I was chatting to you and Lee. Like, we haven't got a right back at all. We had nothing really. We just won the league. Injuries to basically all our best players, and we somehow got a point. So you got to credit Ralph and the boys. And yeah, I'm happy with the week that we had, but we just got to keep going on Saturday against Palace. We can't settle here. We got to keep going.
Do you know what though, man? I actually thought your goal was a well-worked goal. I don't think the defending was great from our point of view, but I actually look at the Southampton and go, "Oh, we've looked in a lucky deflection, or we've passed it back to the keeper. It's gone in." I actually thought it was a pretty well-worked goal.
It come from a goal kick. We played it around the back. I think Ellie News said after the game was like we were getting really frustrated with like trying to play out from the back, because we were obviously, when you're playing against a team like Arsenal who press as well as they do, it's painful to watch. It really is, because then we go up long. We didn't have Adams playing because he had a bit of a hamstring injury, and obviously he started on the bench, which probably Arsenal fans were looking at him thinking, Jesus Christ, why is he not playing? But obviously he had a bit of hamstring problems. He come on and did really well, but it's like the goal was played out from the back, and we played out Arsenal's press, and we did really well. It's a really good goal. So it's like there's positives and negatives from trying to go that way, but it's like in the end it turned into a positive for us.
Yeah, it was mad because he didn't really come to play football. You were like throwing the ball in the box, corners, really kicking us and stuff like that. But the actual goal you scored was a well-worked goal. It was mad, really. Makes me laugh. We've got Arsenal and Chelsea fans in the chat here. Big up, Mark. He looked like a Millwall fan after a game in the 80s. And there we go. Chelsea fans saying, put him on Ireland and see what he does. Honestly, man, it was crazy. It was drop points from us. But at the end of the day, we can only blame ourselves. In my opinion, the ref was shambolic, and trust me, there was enough performances from referees again this weekend, which makes you just wonder what the hell is going on with this league. Got the best league in the world with the worst officials. It really is quite scary. Billy, question. Steven Gerrard goes and Aston Villa turn into a goal machines. What the hell's going on, man? Talk to me.
Just back to basics. Put them in a simple formation, playing simple football, playing to the players' strengths. I mean, look what happens. You know, you stick Ollie Watkins on the wing, take the pressure of goal scoring away from him, let him cause havoc, let him run at players. Same with Leon Bailey on the left. And they were phenomenal. Danny Ings through the middle, a prolific goal scorer, one of the most prolific goal scorers in the Premier League at the minute, in my opinion. And look what he does, scores 2 goals. We were fantastic. We were brilliant. But yeah, I just think it was a week too late for Gerrard to go, in my opinion. You know, we had that game against Forest. We weren't very good. He was then given the Chelsea game. That first half is what gave him the Fulham game. I think if we'd have just run out 2-0 losers, didn't really put up too much of a fight, I think he'd have been gone after that. And now I think it's just a little bit too late for us to really gain that momentum. You know, I think that first game back against Fulham, I think we could probably have got something with that new manager bounce, if you want to call it that. And then we go on to Brentford, and then Newcastle, and then United until Brighton. But then, I mean, you can't knock what we've done with the 4-0. It was a massive result and such an important win as well, because without that win, you look at the table and it's like we're really scrapping down there. You know, we really are. But hopefully it's new beginnings in terms of new managers. We went for the moon with Poch and Emery, and we've landed Poch and Tuchel, and we've landed in the stars with Emery. I'm buzzing, man. I can't wait to see what he does with us. I think he plays a nice, decent brand of football. I think he's someone that can play to the players' strengths, and the tactical side of the game is just second to none, really. I mean, what was it? I think before the Villarreal final against United in the Europa League, he watched 17 United games or something like that in a row. This is a guy that does his work, and he's very detail obsessed. So he'll give more rather than less. And I really, really look forward to seeing what he can do with us, because we've got January just around the corner now. I think we're gonna, from my understanding, we've got at least 100 million to give him instantly to bring in his new players, get players out the door as well. I'd be very surprised if we see Coutinho stay around. I think that ship's kind of sailed. I think he was there because of Gerrard and only Gerrard, and he's just not been good enough. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Coutinho leave. And then we bring in some big players, some Emery players. And yeah, oh man, I'm so excited. I'm really excited. It's just a tough run of games we've got now. We've got Newcastle on Saturday. You know, that bubble's got to burst at some point, Pete.
Probably yours.
You know what, though, Bill? Do you know what?
I'll tell you what. Go on, Dan.
I honestly think this is a wicked appointment, and I'm not saying it because he was ex-Arsenal, because things didn't go well for him at the end of us, and he needed to go. But there was so much wrong at the club when he was at Arsenal. Let's be honest, he was an absolute legend for us, Arsene Wenger, but he left the club in a mess. Yeah, absolute mess. And Emery took over and had to win games with players like Hector Bellerin and players like Mustafi and Socrates and God knows what, right? God knows what else. Iwobi was one of our wingers playing week in, week out. We had Danny Welbeck, and he got that team to I'm just being told this Harry Kane goal has been disallowed, by the way.
That's what I was like. 95th minute winner. It's been called offside.
Talk about Villa now, lads, please.
Sorry, we're talking about Villa, but it had to be said. It had to be. It had to be said. It is quite funny because Tottenham fans, bless them, in that stadium at home, they'll be gutted. Anyway, so Aston Villa under Emery, we're talking about. It's for me, Bill, and I'm being serious. I say this: 4 Europa Leagues, 5 finals. Only bloody one he lost was our one. Typical, but unbelievable what he's done with Villarreal as well, in my opinion, to win the Europa League with that team. And he's had a 36-year-old at the back. You've got Francis Coquelin still in his midfield. He's got nothing up top. The guy's got a poor side, and he's done brilliant with it. And it's something about Villas, man. Sevilla, Villarreal, Aston Villa. Come on,
David
it's
Villa.
it's David Villa. It's meant to be, bro. It's meant to be, and I think he'll do well with you. I'm not expecting anything this season, if I'm honest. I'm not expecting miracles, but what I will say is, I do think this guy is going to be he's going to be good, and I think he will. If you give him time, I think he'll prove that he's a good manager. He's done well everywhere he's gone, man. Seville, brilliant. PSG, you're never going to last at a job like that for more than 3 years. Yeah, 2 years. And at Arsenal, unfortunately, he had to go, but he did do a lot there. And do you know what? There's a lot of things he did there, to be fair. He bought Kieran Tierney. He bought Gabriel Martinelli. He gives Saka and Smith Rowe his debut. Them 4 ain't doing so bad now. So he can obviously see a good player when he gets one. I think you'll be all right, Bill. I really do. But I wanted to ask the panel what they thought of this appointment. So open the floor to anyone, man, who feels that this is a good appointment.
I think he's the best manager in a very long time. I think he's a better manager than Dean Smith. I think he's better than Steven Gerrard. And I feel like he suits Villa because Villa are not a small club. And, Emery, of course, he's, as Dan mentioned, with like the Europa League, and he does have some experience at Arsenal, but I think it's a very good point that you made. Arsenal were shambles when he first joined in the first place. Like, they didn't have much identity. Wenger left, and then you had like players that were here and there, did their suit system. But I feel like you have to be patient. And in all honesty, I feel like he will be a success in the long run. I really like him and what he's done so far in his managerial career. If you just look above Arsenal and what he's done in the Premier League. And now the positive for you guys, Billy, is that he has got that experience in the Premier League. He does understand the league a bit. He's done it with Arsenal. And from here onwards, he has to kick on. So I feel like this is a perfect appointment for you guys. Of course, you wanted Tuchel and you wanted the top, Poch, and all their managers. But I feel like Emery fits you guys. Like he is at a level where with Villa, where he can grow the club and reach European football, which is what you guys want. And he is that type of manager. He's not maybe a top 4 manager, but he's that manager that could get you 7th and grow himself and grow you guys as a team. So I feel like it's a perfect appointment.
Exactly. I completely agree. And it's a long-term contract as well, apparently. So he's going to be around for a while. And I think it's just perfect. We have got to give him time. I don't expect too much this season, don't get me wrong, but I still think with how close it is, someone like Emery can get us to that top half finish. I think he can. I really wanted to see us finish 10th this season. I genuinely think under a top manager like Emery, I still think that we can do that. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we have to give him time. It's a long-term contract. It's a project, and he's got a point to prove as well. He's got a point to prove, and that's what excites me kind of more than anything. He's all of the stuff in the media, the good evening, that kind of thing. It was all fun and games kind of at the time, but it's all running a little bit boring now. And this guy's got something to prove. He's going to stand up. He's going to hopefully take Villa to where we need to be. And yeah, man, it's looking good we've got a positive vibe around Villa now. Steven Gerrard sucked every last drop of energy out of us. The football he was playing was just diabolical.
He's done, man. He's done. He'll end up in the championship or something. He's done, man.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't rate this guy.
I
don't rate him.
He was. Oh man, don't get me started. So I'm going to go over this all over again.
But you know what I mean, Billy? You've gone from this, right? To Emery. Let's be fair. Compared to Gerrard, just forget Gerrard, man. That was just a mad appointment. This is so much better. He's proven. He's done stuff in the Premier League as well. I know people will say it's laughable that he come 5th with Arsenal. Trust me, that was a hard job to do with that team, right? I think
1 point off the Champions League in his only full season as well. When you look at the numbers, he actually did a really good job when you take everything into consideration as a whole. Coming after someone like Arsene Wenger is mission impossible for anyone. It was the same with Sir Alex Ferguson at United. David Moyes comes in, wrong manager at the wrong time as well. So, you know, anyone coming into that Arsenal job was destined for failure pretty much. But when you break it down and you look at the numbers of what Emery did at Arsenal, he did a really good job on reflection. I don't think anyone can knock him for that.
I think the reason you're right is because Arteta has got us to a semi-final of Europa League, and he's got us top, and he's got us fifth. But he didn't get us to a final like Emery did, and he didn't finish a point off of top four. He finished 2. And do you know what? He hasn't had 350 million to spend, which like Arteta has had now. This guy come in with 1 full season and got Aubameyang scoring 31 goals, got Lacazette player of the season, played Iwobi and Welbeck on the wing and Mkhitaryan, El Neni in the middle. Come on, man. This guy did well. So when I look at what he could do with you guys, it could be exciting, Billy.
One thing I want to say as well. Sorry, Pete. One thing I want to say quickly is he works well on a limited budget. Now, Villa have got some of the richest owners in the Premier League. We're not Newcastle rich, we're not Man City rich, but we're up there. We're top 6 for richest owners in the league. So he's going to have stuff to spend, but we're not naive to financial fair play and stuff like that as well. So with the whole package of the players that we've got at the club now, as well as the players that he can bring in, I've said it so many times already, I know, but it's really exciting. And I think it's definitely the right appointment for us at this moment in time.
I've got a question for you, Billy. Obviously, I'm interested to see how Emery gets on, because we offered him the job in November last year at Newcastle. I think it was in the midst of a Champions League campaign at Villarreal, and he said no. We went for Hal. We're not arguing that at all. We're very happy with what we got. But I'm interested to see how he gets on at Villa. I'm just interested why he didn't take the job now. He's taking the job after the Newcastle game. Is he worried? That
it's work permit stuff, believe it or not. It is actually work permit stuff. So
is he worried? Put that there. Is he worried?
Don't try and D/Mas me, mate. It's work permit.
I don't do nothing. That's a man.
It's going to be an interesting game though, Saturday.
I tell you what, for a neutral, it's going to be a fantastic game. We've got such a positive vibe around us at the minute. Just coming off the back of a 4-0 win, we played some fantastic football in that game as well. So don't get me wrong. I still think you guys will probably win. St. James's Park is just a fortress, but I think the players are up for it. The players have got to prove themselves as well. Emery's going to be watching this game, obviously. So these players are playing for their positions now, because Emery comes in, fancies a guy off the bench a little bit more, your position's gone. So as a neutral, it's going to be one of the games of the week, if not the game of the week, I think.
Leon Bailey is going to be a game changer for you. Leon Bailey, I will be honest, I was shocked when he signed for you. You paid a fair bit of money for him. He's a talented boy. The fact that Gerrard couldn't get him playing says everything about his managerial ability, as far as I'm concerned. He's a top-level player. And I'm genuinely worried about him coming to St. James's, because I think he's a terrific player. I just hope that Tyrone Mings plays, because if he plays, we've got a chance.
I tell you what, mate. I'll tell you what, mate. Tyrone Mings this season, aside from the Chelsea game, aside from the Fulham game, he's been so good. And he gets so much criticism from Villa fans. He gets so much criticism from other teams' fans, because they see that one mistake, or they see those couple of mistakes that he makes a season, and it's instantly like, oh, this guy's rubbish. Like, he's had a lot to deal with this season. He was dropped for the first game. He's had the captaincy taken away from him. But the way he's come back from that, people say that he's only come back because of Carlos's injury. That's not true. He was actually picked the next game to partner Diego Carlos. It was Konza that actually dropped out for that game. the way he's reacted since losing the captaincy has been fantastic. And when he's at the top of his game, he is one of the best defenders in England. And I'm not exaggerating either, because yes, he always has that mistake in him. We know that. I'm one of the first to criticise him. Don't get me wrong, but the plaudits for him when he's going well have to be as loud as the criticism when he's doing bad. And he's a fantastic player when he's at the top of his game. He's had a couple of mistakes since, but he was solid against Brentford. Ivan Toney didn't realise he was on the pitch. So it's going to be a tough ask to silence Callum Wilson. He's a fantastic player. I rate him. I rate Callum Wilson highly, and I think he should be on the plane for me if he's fully fit, which it seems like he is at the minute. He should 100% be on the plane to the World Cup. But as we all know, Gareth Southgate doesn't pick on form; he picks on his favourites, which is what that's a story for another day. But yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a good battle all over the pitch. You know, Bailey up against Trippier. I was one of Trippier's biggest critics when he was getting picked for England and when he was at Atletico Madrid. Hold my hands up, I was completely wrong. What a player! So that battle is going to be incredible. The Tyrone Mings, Callum Wilson, you know, Ashley Young against Miggy Almiron. There's going to be battles all over the pitch. Douglas Luiz against Guimaraes. I'm looking forward to this game.
Look at this. Like Billy's got Emery, and now all of a sudden they're all like Newcastle level here. What's happening?
I'm not saying we're level by any stretch of the imagination, but the positivity's there, man. We're back.
Man. It's, you know what I mean? 4-0. Emery's in. Mings is now our best centre half for England. You got Ashley Young who's going to come up and batter Almiron. You got Douglas Luiz is going to ball Bruno Guimaraes. Come on, Billy. Let's calm it, man.
Based on this show, it's going to be only me remaining.
I'm talking about the battles.
Everyone's looking like the top 6 race. After one
I was just solely talking about the battles on the pitch. It's going to be a fantastic game for the neutral is what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Well, let's hope it is, man, because I want to see a good game like that. So let's hope it is, man. And someone needs to try and take points off Newcastle. Ash, you've been sitting there very quietly and politely and patiently, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's time to big up Leicester a bit, innit? Wow, what have we seen? Well, what's different? What's turned around, my guy?
1 loss in 5 games, 3 clean sheets. What can I say? Ward's gone from being one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League now to being up there with a clean sheet. What has changed, if you want a simple answer from me and as a Leicester fan, is the centre-back that we've brought in. He has been absolutely outstanding. And you know what? Fofana, gutted to lose him. Not going to sit here and get excited. We've had Wout Pass for 4 or 5 games. But he has been absolutely unreal since we've signed him. He's been excellent. And as well, I love Johnny Evans, but I think a Marte partner in him at the back is working as well. I think Evans has just looked slightly off the boil this season. I think I've said it on a few shows. And I think there's a partnership building there at the centre-back, which is leading to us being able to have our attacking players create again, which is why we've had some pretty high-scoring games when we have won. 4-0 against Forest, 4-0 against Wolves, clean sheet and 2-0 against Leeds. And we had a tough game. It wasn't the best Watford Palace game, I'm sure Deal agree. But it was a fought-out game, a chess match, and we needed that at the time. We've only lost 1 in 5 now, and let's get back to where I think Leicester belong, which is the top half of the table. Because most of you guys in the past and on this panel all talk about players that our squad coming to you guys. At the minute, they're at Leicester City and they've got to do a job for us. And that's what I believe.
Well, listen, man, it's looking a lot better for you. And I have to bring up this comment because this was the best goal I've seen in a long time. What an unbelievable strike. Man, that's up for goal of the season already, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got that in the locker, and that was shown in the FA Cup final against Chelsea that he's got that kind of goal in him. But it was unreal, just fast thinking, wasn't it? He let it go, and he knew where it was going. It is going to be sad to see because out of all the players that we talk about leaving, it's well known that Tielemans is not going to sign, and he will be going somewhere. That's that's a given. He will be leaving Leicester City, but we'll enjoy him whilst we've got him. He's been an ultimate professional. I'm not going to come on here and bash him because he's going. He's left the right way. He will be leaving the right way. He's always putting status up, bigging Leicester up, how much passion he's got, and he's been given the armband the last few games, which also shows how much passion he's still got for the squad. So yeah, it's looking
Do you
positive.
think, Ash, as well, like Tielemans and Maddison, they're not playing like they want out. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
No.
that's the good thing, innit? Because you know when players down tools, I want to go, got the ump, I want to get out of here, and they won't let me go. They're chaining me to a radiator type attitude. For me, man, both of them look, they're so good, man. I would take both of them right now at Arsenal, and I'm not even joking. They get into our team. They're so good. I just think they have been so consistent. And this Maddison kid, man, like if this absolute buffoon in the waistcoat does not take this guy to the World Cup, I am going to lose my head. This guy is unbelievably good. He literally is he's the reason Leicester have got a glimmer of hope this season for me.
Yeah.
This guy is so good for, like, when you look at it, Ash, right? I know Leicester have had their problems and we've laughed about it, we've joked about it and stuff like that. I never thought Leicester were going to go down, if I'm honest with you. Just thought you were going through, but I knew you'd start to get back and winning ways. This guy is head and shoulders above everybody. Every time I watch Leicester, he is just so ridiculously good, Ash.
He is. He's creative with the ball. His work ethic is absolutely fantastic. And even his interviews after the game, you can tell he studies the game and he's interested. Because when you hear him talk, I don't know if any of you guys have on the Sky Sports when they give him the mic, it's so in depth and he's like, he just loves football. He lives and breathes it. And I believe he'll be like that at any club he goes to. He deserves to be at the top side. I'm just going to be 100% honest. Leicester City at the minute, as a fan, I'm still in the place where I think are they showing the ambition they were 4 or 5 years ago? You know, because we were pushing for Europe. That's fact. I mean, we had Europe. I think it was 4 seasons out of the last 5. So now we're pushing on. Is Rodgers going to be back a little bit in January? We'll soon find out. And maybe that can turn things around because football moves fast. It was all looking glum, like you say. Only 3 weeks ago, we thought Rodgers were going to get fired. We thought every player was heading for the exit door. We thought we didn't have a goalkeeper that could play. I mean, that's still to be tested. I think there's still a mistake there. But on the last 4 games performance is, like I say, he's had 3 clean sheets. And you can only go with how he's playing at the minute. And I just think all round, it's nice to watch Leicester again. Vardy's back on the score sheet, which is always massive for Leicester because normally when he starts firing, he gets a few. But it's gone through quite a long drought and it was disappointing for him. But hopefully that Leicester City vibe is back now and we start seeing that flow in attacking football where teams don't want to play us instead of looking forward to playing us every week because that was the stage it was getting to. Teams wanted to come and play Leicester and have them this season. But maybe after the last few games, they're thinking, oh, maybe they've turned a corner now.
Well, I hope you have, man, because I like Leicester. I don't want to see you go down. Before I want to come to Mr. Doran D on something. But first, do you think Brendan Rodgers is staying and like it's looking fine for him now? Like, is there any suggestion that he's still going to go?
To be honest with you, Dan, I think us as fans thought he was probably going to get the sack. But noises from the top just suggest that they were going to support him all the way through. And they never had any intentions of sacking him. I mean, I know there would have been a cut-off point if the results got to the point of this is not looking good at all. But obviously he's picked some points up now. And in his interviews, he's saying that he wants to be at Leicester City. He'd turned a few jobs down whilst he was at Leicester City. And he believes he's the man to turn the corner and do the job. And over the last 5 games, okay, the Bournemouth result was disappointing, but it was a well-fought game. They deserved the win. There was a few mistakes at the back. But other than that, we've looked good the last 5 games. So I've got to tip my hat off to him. And I think a lot of Leicester fans have now. And just get behind him, get behind the team and see where we can go.
Yeah, man. Listen, I think that's all good, man. And listen, I want to just come to D because I know D's got to shoot the Palace quickly, man. Listen, I don't know what happened there. I love Vieira. I love Palace. You've had some tough games. that one was just one you got to forget about quickly, weren't it? It was a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare, but it's not one that I will forget about quickly. I don't think so, because it was pathetic. Like, honestly, it was. I don't mind my team losing. We've had worse periods as a Palace fan. Like, we've been trying to stay up, and now we're trying to do something different. So I get it. We're gonna have hurdles along the way, but the fact that we went there and the fact that we just couldn't get the first ball, second ball, that's what pissed me off the most. It's just like, that's the fundamentals. And Vieira came out afterwards and he was asked what went wrong, and he said everything. And he said something along the lines of, like, he hasn't really seen this before from the Palace side, and we haven't, because every time we're down, we're that type of side. So far this season, we love to concede to go win games. Like, we were 1-0 down against Wolves, we won that game. We were like, we've had so many moments this season where we just go a goal or two down and then we go and win games. But in this game, we're just pathetic. Like, the effort was just awful. You look at some of the goals that they scored, and look at the second or the last goal they scored. They just, Dwight McNeil just ran through 4 or 5 plays and no one wanted to put their body across. It's one of the most pathetic performances I've seen all season long. And in all honesty, I'm not looking forward to the Southampton game, because they've got points to prove these plays. After that, there's nothing for me to look forward to. Maybe I'm overreacting. I know it's one game. I just didn't understand it, man. You can't give up like that. You can't let them win the first. At least try. Like, I can accept losing, but try in the defeat. And we didn't. And we made them look better than they were. But credit to Everton, they deserved the win. They deserved the win because they wanted it. We didn't want it. And that's what annoys me the most. We're such a yo-yo club. We go beat Wolves, and then afterwards, 3-0 defeat against Everton. We go beat, what team was it before the Leicester game that we beat? I can't even remember now. But we win at home, go away, we lose. We draw against. It was against. What was it before you guys?
Leeds.
Leeds. Yeah, Leeds. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Leeds. Exactly. We go beat Leeds, and then with all due respect, Ash, during that moment, you guys weren't that great. I was expecting at least a goal. At least a goal. We only had one shot on target. So with too much of a yo-yo club for me to say, oh, great, we got Southampton, let's bounce back. Even if we beat Southampton, I'm going to be calm, because for this Palace side, we're too inconsistent. And Patrick Vieira spoke about it for a very long time. Like, with this Palace side, we can play good football, but we can't do it on a consistent basis. I don't know if it's just the tactics away from home. I don't know what it is. I'm not getting carried away. We go beat Southampton maybe, or we lose, but it's the same thing over and over again, ain't it?
Fair play to you, man. Listen, I know you got to shoot D. Before you do go, what's your prediction for that game, man?
I had an opposition preview. I recorded with Liam before this. My I don't know. Score prediction, I'm going for 1-0 or 2-1 defeat. I'm not optimistic. I'm not really looking forward to the game. They've sucked the soul out of me. You know how energetic I am. You know how much I back my boys. You know how much I back my boys. We come on here, we have jokes and stuff. But exactly, it was just beyond a joke.
Man, I still think you'll be fine this season, man. And I know the inconsistency is frustrating, but I still fancy you to float around that top half. So fair play to you, man. I'll see you next week. We'll be in touch. And D, as always, it's a pleasure, bro.
All right, cool. Take care, guys.
Take care, man.
Guys, before we do wrap up, obviously I want to wrap up because we have run over, but I need to get a prediction from you guys from what you think you're going to be up to in your next game. I'm going to start with Ash. What are you going for, bro?
We got Manchester City.
6-1.
So maybe it's gonna be the end of the clean sheets, I believe, definitely. But
Haaland's a doubt. Haaland's a doubt. Is he a doubt? He's out.
I think it's been confirmed he's out. He's out. Yeah.
Ooh.
So let's go. Let's have a Popperton whilst the tails are up. Do you know what? They're a big team, but we've got. If you look at our record against Manchester City, it's actually
Very
really
good.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
So let's have a go. Why not?
2-1 then. 2-1 Leicester.
Oh yeah, come on, 2-1. But no, realistically, I think they'll probably beat us 2-0 and control the game comfortably. But it'd be nice just to see. I'll be happy as a Leicester fan with effort in that game. That'll do me.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Fair play, man. Dor, who you got, man?
We've got you lot. We've got you lot.
I was joking, bro. What are you going for, man? Come on.
I don't know. This after the great performance in Liverpool. Arsenal different kettle of fish. Like I said, they've not lost at home, top of the league. They've got that front three, as you know. I'll be happy with a point, Dan, but my head says we're going to get battered. I'm not going to lie, we're going to get battered because I'll say 4-1 Arsenal. We'll score. I think we'll score. But it's that front three again with Saka, Jesus, Martelli. Yeah. It's at the Emirates as well. So I know we beat you like an FA Cup, but that's last season. But yeah, I think it's going to be an easy result for you lot. I'll say 4-1 to Arsenal. But I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope I'm wrong.
Do you know what though? This is what Dor does. He says to me, "It's going to be a battering. I've done the 3 previews with him, right? And he's beaten me twice. Do you know what I'm saying? 1-0, 1-0. I'm like, I can't deal with this, man. Do you know what I'm saying? But listen, I hope that you're wrong. No, I'm joking. I hope that you are right. And I think that we will win, but I don't think it'll be a battering, man. I really don't. The way we're playing at the moment, it was starting to look a little bit jaded, and I just hope that the Forest turn up they did against Leicester and not the one against Liverpool.
No, I don't mention Leicester. Yo, Dan, why did you mention Leicester? I'm next to Ash next to me, man. Forget about that game. This is why I let Dave. I'm not sure when we won the beaters, so I can't remember the game. Can't remember it.
Yeah, you don't just forget about that one quickly, innit? You know what I'm saying? No, man, big up yourself for coming on as well, man. Listen, Liam,
Respect.
what do you reckon? D reckons you're going to beat him. D's got the ump, you know what I mean? D has definitely got the ump there. He's like, oh, we're rubbish with it. This is what he's doing. He's doing this.
Very negative, I know.
Very tactical it is as well.
On the preview of the film earlier, literally before the game, he was very negative. And I'm thinking, I don't want to get too much there or something, and I'm still not too confident going into the game because Palace, Selhurst Park, if when they need a result, their fans turn up, and you know that you get that place to rock it. It's a really, really difficult place to go. But I think with the games we got after it, with Newcastle and Liverpool, we need to win. Saying that, I'll take a point, but I do think I feel a bit confident. I'm going to go 2-1 Saints. I feel like we have a good record. We have a good record at Selhurst as well, so I think we could do it.
Fair play, man. Look at that. That's what happens. You last week it's doom and gloom. Then you get a draw at Arsenal. Oh, I think we can win now. That's what it does. Football is a strange game. Billy,
Good.
Confident, about 7-0 from the way you're talking. You've got the best defender in the league. Ashley Young, coming up
against. Maybe if we had Emery. Nah, in all seriousness, I think Newcastle will probably come out on top. I think we'll cause them a few problems. I think, like Pete said, Leon Bailey in particular, I think after that game against Brentford, he's he seems to be really up for it now that he's being utilised properly. So, yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a very good game for the neutral. That would be for sure. I think there'll be a little bite in the game. It seems to be a bit of a Villa-Newcastle rivalry at the minute. I'm not really too sure where that's come from. But yeah, I think it'll be a good game.
I know where it comes from.
Please tell me, because I really have no idea.
2009, when you relegated us.
Sub on the time.
Yeah. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
The rivalry comes from.
Anyway. But yeah, it's going to be a good game. I don't think we're going to win it. I'm going to say 2-1 Newcastle, probably. My current blue tinted glasses on, I'm going to go for a 1-1. But with those off, it's 2-1 Newcastle, I think, unfortunately.
Very honest of you, Billy. Very honest of you, man. Gone in, Pete.
Yeah, they're always quite close games, to be fair. Last season I was there. It was a close game. We won 1-0 when Trippier got injured and was out for 4 months, but he scored that free kick. That won us the game. We're a different Newcastle even to then. And I just think the war flags, which is the flags that they put up to get the atmosphere going and to create that buzz. I just think with everything behind that, the fans, the players having a week's rest. They've had 3 tough games: Man United, Everton at home, Tottenham away. They've had a week's rest now. They'll be fit and firing again. I'm going to go 3-1 Newcastle.
Fair play to you, man. Listen, I think the way you're playing at the moment, I've beat you up enough. I ain't going to do it again, but I do think you're playing well enough to be confident at the moment, man. So Great show yet again, people. Thank you all so much for coming on. Absolutely amazing legends. Smash the like button, people. Thank you all for listening. Make sure you go and follow these guys on their socials. Yeah, they all do podcasts. They all do their own shows. Just make sure you go follow them on socials. And I have to say it, man, Mr. Thor, it has been a pleasure having you back, my guy. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Let's do it. If Forest win, Dan, get me on back on the show because I'm happy as Larry again. But if we lose, I can see Dave in the chat. Dave, you're back on next week, yeah. But yeah, thank you, Dan, for letting me on.
Mate, you're always welcome. You know that, man. And likewise, all of you are absolute legends for coming and supporting me in the channel. It's absolute pleasure having you all on. We'll be back next week, guys. We might have to reshuffle some bits because World Cup and League Cup and God knows what is getting in the way. But we will be back for another show, and it will just have to be a slightly different time, perhaps. But we'll see. I ain't thought that far ahead yet. But we'll see you next time. Take it easy and up the Arsenal.
Up the Forest.